Patrick Cook here. Well, thanks for joining me in session number 29 of Mastering Mandelbulb 3D Formulas. So in the previous session, I was going through the concept of the DEcombinate. We were talking about the DEcomb, which is down here, the min, the max, and the mix and stuff like that. And so I think you got a pretty good handle on the idea behind the DEcombinate is a volumetric Boolean operation that is applied to multiple fractal formulas, okay? Now, that's an important concept. Now, and this volumetric can occur with both the dIFS, which is the shape formulas, as well as the escape time. And a couple sessions ago, we were actually looking at what was an integer power and the tetra, and we were seeing how these escape times were kind of blended together, and then we turned our attention to shapes in the dIFS category so that we could kind of better see how these formulas, these shapes in that case, were combining. Now, there's another aspect to the DEcombinate that is very important to understand. The DEcombinate is actually working on sets of formulas. Now, a while back in the series, I was defining what a formula set is. I'll see if I can put up on the screen the session number where I was talking about formula sets or sequences, okay? So in the case of the DEcombinate, the operation is actually combining or DE-combining sets. Now, let me point you to this little value right here, this 2. This is your default. Now, what this 2 is indicating, that is the separation between the two sets of formulas, or the sequences of formulas. Now, the 2 in this particular case will indicate to us that you have the first sequence, formula sequence, and then the second formula sequence begins at formula 2. So that would be sequence 1 would be formula 1 in this case, and then sequence 2 would be formulas 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, if the formula slot is not assigned a formula, then it's not part of the sequence, obviously. Okay? So, looking at this particular setup that I have right here, given that I have a 2 up here, all right, formula 1, it comprises sequence 1, and formula 2 comprises sequence 2. All right, and there is no 3, 4, 5, and 6, so they're not part of sequence 2. Now let me give you another scenario. Let's say that I set that to formula 3. All right, so the sequence is actually, the first sequence is actually formulas 1 and 2, and the second sequence is actually formulas 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, obviously, this is not going to fly because there is no formulas assigned in the second sequence. Well, let's see if we can set something up here. I'm going to stick with dIFS because they're much easier to understand visually what's going on. Now, let's let's set up a scenario here so that we can inspect what's going on. I'm going to set this back to 2. All right, and we're going to keep the box in formula slot number 1. It's the formula slot number 2. I'm going to go find a, let's find a fractal shape where we can kind of see it on screen and we can kind of see them intersect. That's a good one right there. All right, now right down here, this DEcomb, it's set for min. All right, I want to set that for, well, yeah. Now I'll tell you what, we're going to leave it at min because we can see the box, and we can see this other one, which is called dIFS. Okay, so that's a pretty good graphic. We can see those pretty good. Now let's set up a third one here, and I'm sticking with diffs not because I have to, but only so that I can get shapes up there so that we can envision what's going on better. I could put an escape time formula in this next slot, but I'm trying to keep it so that we understand what's going on. Let's say gear IFS. Let's see what happens. Okay. All right, let's calculate that. Yeah, okay, the gear is hidden. The gear is behind. It's behind the dIFS. So let's do a swap. Let's put the gear over in slot number 2. All right, I'll do a swap. So gear is in slot number 2. Ideally, the gear should come forward. Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here's the gear right here. The gear is in yellow. That's the gear. All right, and the DINI is being obliterated. So I'll tell you what. Let's get a different. The DINI isn't even making it onto the screen. Let's just pick a different one. I don't know. How about, well, let's put the columns. Okay, with columns, I'm sure we're going to get something on the screen. All right, there's the columns over there. I'm going to move everything here. Mouse down, slide it over, release the mouse, and then recalculate. Okay. Okay. So what we have here is Formula 1 is the box. That's the green, and also the yellow here, the yellow here, the yellow here. That's all part of the box graphic. I have the gears IFS, which is still hidden. All right, let's leave it that way, because I think I know what we're going to do here. And the column IFS is the columns. Now, so the way this is set up right now is I have 2 DEcombinate sequences. Because I have a 2 right here, Formula 1 is the first sequence. Formulas 2 and 3 are the second sequence. I have 2 DEcombinate formula sequences. All right? So that's how I define my sequences, by using this value up here. If I set that to 3, come on, then my 2 sequences is Formula 1, Formula 2. My second sequence is Formula 3. All right? All right. So one of the keys to understanding the DEcombinate hybrid mode is that you have 2 sequences. You only have 2 sequences. You're only determining where the sequence 1 ends and the sequence 2 begins. And that's what you use this value up here. That determines the dividing position between the two sequences. In DEcombinate, you are combining two different formulas. The more accurate way to say this is that you are combining two different formula sequences. Let me see if I can make that more clear. If you only have two formulas, well, let's do it. Let's get rid of this one here. If you only have two formulas and your dividing position is number 2, you have two sequences of one formula each. In this scenario right here, you are actually doing a DEcombinate of two formulas. The way the application is handling it is that you are doing a DEcombination of two formula sequences. Okay, all right, enough for that for right now. Digest that a little bit, and we'll pick it up in our next session. I'll see you there.